prepared. This opening segment will be carried live stream, so not the entire panel discussion, just part of it on our YouTube channel as well as on our LinkedIn. However, it is being recorded and will be shared on our YouTube page within a few days. This is because today's topic is a major issue, not just for us in Trinidad and Tobago, but around the Caribbean region. Today, we have 4 very special panelists with us, 2 of whom are appearing on a CCGI platform for the first time. I want to thank each of them sincerely, David Alfonso Greene and Sachin Ganpat. And we also welcome back Keeghan Patrick from St. Lucia and Kristian Bainey, a Trinidadian who has been living in Canada for many years and who has also appeared on our platform before. I will give a more detailed introduction on our panelists in a few minutes. But first, I want to thank last week's panelists, Reshma Advani Rojas, Lauren Pouchet, Ken Hackshaw, and Martha Miller, all of whom had brought great insights for the business sector. In fact, last week's discussion set the context for part 2 today. And I recall it was Martha who said that the war begins long before the first bullet is fired. So our panelists had clearly underscored the threat of war and its likelihood, its impact on us. As I said last week, the Caribbean Sea is our economic lifeline. Any significant disruption in this basin directly threatens the core of our commerce. So we had examined 3 scenarios, and today we would like to consider how this would impact our digital resilience. So scenario 1. The potential of direct conflict between the US and Venezuela. In the digital space, this is likely to lead to disruptive attacks on critical business infrastructure. Scenario 2, that there's a protracted standoff, pretty much what we are experiencing today. At this time, there may very well be sustained espionage that is taking place, intellectual property theft, and other things influencing the operations of our business. Scenario 3, that there may be a negotiated deal and the US quietly leaves our waters. Whilst this may be something that we will welcome, there is still a need for us to consider the potential for spoiler attacks and even opportunistic cybercrime that may be committed by those who are not currently actors in this active scenario. Each of our panelists will be considering these points. They would be looking at what forms this challenge can take. It may be disinformation campaigns, ransomware against critical infrastructure, data theft from government and businesses. So many areas that we have to consider that we have seen other countries contend with. So our purpose today is not to predict which path will unfold, but to prepare our business mindset for all of them. We must move from being passive observers to proactive architects of our own resilience. So, the continuation of this series is really just the starting point for you, our directors. It is a crucial step in shifting the geopolitical challenge from boardroom worry into a very structured business analysis. Because, as we identified last week, decisions made in Washington and Caracas will shape our context, but our decision will make our own companies, our own organizations, our decisions will determine our future. So I want to thank our panelists who will be helping us to explore this vital conversation. There are a few persons who have joined us today for the first time. I want to say welcome to all of you and to share that the Caribbean Corporate Governance Institute is a nonprofit membership organization that was established in 2012. We currently enjoy over 300 members from a range of private and public sector organizations across the Caribbean. Our membership includes persons from Jamaica, Barbados, St. Lucia, Guyana, Belize, the British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, Suriname, and of course here in Trinidad and Tobago. And through our bundle membership with JMMB, we also have members from the Dominican Republic and Colombia. Just saying, there are lots of benefits to being part of a vibrant organization like ours, including participating in these discussions. So if you're not yet a member, do consider joining us and actively contribute to the conversation on how we can improve leadership and governance to achieve sustainable outcomes in our region. So persons may join us as individual members, or your companies may choose to pay for bundle membership, which can cover 6 to 12 members. As we get started with our panel, I just want to remind participants, many of whom do attend our sessions regularly, we ask everyone to ensure that their full names are captured on their screens. This is because we are in a virtual room that allows everyone to easily access other participants. So it's important to us that you are identifiable. We also ask to ensure that proceedings flow very smoothly, that microphones are kept on mute. During the Q&A segment, we do invite persons to share their points of view, at which point in time, if you are invited, please ensure that you mute your microphone again as soon as you are done, so as to minimize any disruptive noises. And of course, throughout the session, you can make comments or ask questions in the chat feature, which will be brought to the attention of the panelists. Finally, we'll put up a survey link towards the end of the session. We had tremendously good feedback from last week's panel discussion. As a matter of fact, the recommendation that there be a part 2 came from the feedback. So we will thank you if you will take the 2 minutes and please complete that survey for us. Let me also thank our CCGI team who are providing support today. Laura Sinanan, who manages room logistics, Quentrell De Silva, who is running the live stream, and Monique Romano, who will post the survey link. All 3 of them will be managing the Zoom room as well. I thank them very much for the hard work they've been doing for CCGI. So now I'd want to move to introducing our panelists for today. I know everyone is very anxious to hear from them. Their detailed profiles are in the agenda that was shared. And I will ask Laura to put it in the chat again, just in case anyone would not have received it from their emails this morning. So I would be sharing just briefly on each of our panelists because we want to get into the discussion as soon as possible. We'll begin with Sachin Ganpat. Sachin is a seasoned cybersecurity and networking leader with over 2 decades of experience securing and operating critical digital infrastructure, particularly within the financial services sector. He has led large-scale network and security transformations, strengthening cyber resilience, visibility, and incident readiness in environments where availability, trust, and continuity are non-negotiable. Next, I'd like to introduce David Antonio Greene. David is a leading voice within the cybersecurity community with 3 decades of cross-functional expertise across banking, systems development, IT operations, IT audit, executive sales, and leadership. As Managing Director, Caribbean at CYPFER Inc., I hope I pronounced that correctly, David. Right. At CYPFER Inc., he drives the company's regional expansion while empowering businesses to build unshakable defenses against today's most sophisticated cyber threats. And let me also add that David has a rare ability to translate complex technical realities into executive action, which makes him a trusted advisor to C-suite leaders across the Caribbean, North America, and Europe. Our third panelist is a young man, someone I am quite impressed with and look forward to see his growth in the region. And this is Keeghan Patrick. Keeghan is an exceptionally dedicated problem solver with a strong academic and professional background. He earned a master's degree in advanced manufacturing and design from MIT, complemented by a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from UE. Keeghan further enriched his knowledge through a semester at Harvard Business School, focusing on strategy and technology, and honed his entrepreneurial skills at Draper U Ventures. Draper U Ventures founder accelerator program in Silicon Valley. And he is currently one of the co-founders at Orbtronics in St. Lucia. I'm not sure if Kristian, oh yes, Kristian did join us. So let me also introduce Kristian at this time. Kristian Bainey is an accomplished professional with over 15 years of diverse and progressively responsible IT experience. Demonstrates a remarkable combination of technical expertise and leadership skills. He holds a master's and bachelor's degree in information systems, a diploma in computer systems technology, and an artificial intelligence program certification. Additionally, he spent years part-time lecturing at university and college levels, teaching PMP and Scrum Master, and part-time coaching students to attain their PMP. Currently, he holds the position of president-elect for the Northern Alberta PMI chapter, and he's also writing the new PMP study guide for PMBOK 8, that is, with Wiley Publishing. So let me say a very, very warm welcome to all of our panelists. And we would begin the conversation with Sachin. Sachin, we had offered 3 likely scenarios: the potential of all-out warfare between the US and Canada, and that warfare is not necessarily simply military. We know that it can be cyber war as well. There may be a protracted standoff in terms of their military aggression, or the US may very well make a deal with Venezuela and leave without further conflict. So, Sachin, the floor is now all yours. We look forward to hearing from you.
All right. Great. Thanks, Kamala, and thanks for the introduction, even though I'm a bit disappointed that he didn't also call me a young man, but I'll live with that. All right. So, well, first of all, I will let me preface that all the opinions that are going to be shared by myself today is that of my own and not that of my employer. So all these conversations are just that of myself, right? So Kamala would have already indicated some areas that you would see disruptions that are happening, that may happen within the organization, within the Caribbean region. So besides the digital disruptions, such as denial of service attacks or in ransomware attacks, you know, we may see things like misinformation, disinformation, which also understand that that's also a cybersecurity type issue. What we will also see things like espionage, data theft, and these are used that feeds back into misinformation, disinformation campaigns that may also weaken positions. So we can see that cybersecurity is an important an important aspect for a lot of organizations. I will stop short of calling this cyber warfare, in the sense that it's a lot of these attacks happens normally in a lot of daily operations that we see from organizations. Now, an important thing to note is that cybersecurity is not an IT issue. And I see that often where it's placed a lot on IT departments to deal with, but it's a core tenet of business continuity and survival of the business itself. And this should be something that is considered at the board levels. And I must say, I'm seeing a lot, more over the past 5 years or so, especially with the pandemic, conversations around IT continuity from the business aspect. So I think that the pandemic, it played a big role in terms of getting us a lot more comfortable with IT continuity as a business aspect. Now, in the Caribbean, this matters a lot because our economies are highly interconnected, and for the most part, very fragile. Right. Right. So, no, it kind of what I mentioned, three scenarios, but a lot of what we may be doing, it's all going to be linked, and in many cases overlap from what are the kind of activities that are expected. Now, so we are indicated that threats, especially if we do have any incidents where there are rising tensions, it's ransomware and DDoS attacks. We may see it against critical infrastructure, government, financial services, because these are some key areas that are meant to disrupt. Service providers as well, because communications is always a key aspect of disruptions within any organizations. Well, sorry, within any nation states. Disinformation campaigns, because this weakens trust, right? This also, I mean, we've seen it in the past with many other campaigns that's happening. Disinformation continues to happen throughout, and we become a lot more, what's the word? Benign, I guess, especially coming from the pandemic, right? There's a lot of things that we still don't know what to trust, right? And so it's something that we need to be ahead of as you go ahead. For businesses, your priority would be protecting your backup and recovery systems, because these are the key areas that if your business is affected, you want to recover quickly. You want to maintain cash and transaction systems, because if your payroll is affected, then well, that's it. Your business not going to function there, right? If your people are not going to be working, then there's going to be a problem. You want to maintain communications with customers and suppliers, again, for that disruption, disinformation campaigns that may be happening. You want to be able to address that. And the most important thing, you want to be able to protect your people. You want to find ways by which your people can continue to operate and work while feeling safe, right? And that may not be in an office, whether it's remote work, those type of things. And you would want to have that type of those types of systems already in place for now, right? In terms of a proactive situation, you may consider how there may be greater escalation of threats. Those same sorry, those same activities that you were seeing, DDoS, ransomware, a lot more of those activities might ramp up, because at the end they're trying to overwhelm the resources and the people in order to you know, have a better chance of success in some of those cases, and cause as much harm as possible. So and that's why you know, it might be key. You know, AI is a big thing now, but AI and automation are key aspects of cybersecurity now, where they're implementing a lot of automated systems to try to address these types of threats that's coming in, and these types of attacks are happening beforehand. Assume a compromise. As it is, you know, there's a saying in cybersecurity, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. You have to assume that all your system is already compromised. And if your system is already compromised, you should be looking at what you can do to reduce the risk, the scope of an attack, those types of things, right? So you would want to ensure that you built in your controls within your organization, that you could limit any scope of an attack that may happen from the inside,